Welcome to today's deep dive. You know, when we think about holidays, it's usually about, commemorating a historical event or celebrating a specific belief.
Right.
But what if a holiday was all about celebrating the very fabric of a nation? Its incredible diversity. That's what Ethiopia's Nationalities Day is all about, held every December 8th.
That's a very unique concept. This holiday isn't tied to a single event or a narrative.
Yeah.
It's a celebration of Ethiopia's over 80 distinct ethnic groups, each with its own unique language, traditions, and customs.
Over 80 ethnic groups. Wow, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That's more than most continents have.
It is.
We're not just talking about minor variations here.
Right. We're talking distinct languages, different styles of dress, unique culinary traditions, diverse forms of music and dance.
Right.
For example, you have the Oromo, the largest ethnic group known for their Gada system, a democratic socio-political system that's been practiced for centuries. Then you have the Amhara, known for their contributions to Ethiopian literature and art.
Right.
And the Tigro, who have a rich history dating back to the ancient Aksumite Empire.
Wow.
Each group brings a unique flavor to the mix.
It's like a giant cultural kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
But how did Ethiopia manage to weave all these diverse threads into a unified nation? I mean, other countries with such diversity often struggle with internal conflicts and divisions.
Right. That's where the concept of ethnic federalism comes in.
Okay.
Ethiopia's constitution, adopted in 1995, recognizes the rights of nations and nationalities, granting a degree of autonomy to each region based on ethnicity.
So wait, they actually structured their government around ethnic diversity?
They did.
That seems almost counterintuitive, doesn't it? Wouldn't that emphasize divisions rather than unity?
It might seem that way at first glance, but the idea is to acknowledge and respect those differences,
Okay.
while also creating a framework for shared governance and national unity.
Got it.
The delicate balancing act.
So how does this ethnic federalism actually work? Are these regions completely autonomous, or do they still answer to a central government?
Think of it as a system where power is shared between a central government and regional states.
Yeah.
Each state has its own parliament and executive branch responsible for managing local affairs,
Okay.
including education, healthcare, and cultural preservation. But they all operate under the umbrella of the federal government, which oversees national issues like defense, foreign policy, and economic development.
Okay, so there's a division of power. But does the system actually succeed in preventing conflicts between different groups? Surely there must be tensions and disagreements.
Of course, like any nation, Ethiopia faces its share of challenges. There have been instances of inter-ethnic conflicts and political disputes.
Right.
But the federal system, with its emphasis on recognizing and accommodating diversity, has arguably played a significant role in mitigating those conflicts. It provides a platform for dialogue and negotiation, allowing different groups to voice their concerns and participate in decision-making processes.
So it's like they've created a system where differences are acknowledged and addressed within a framework of shared governance. That's fascinating. But let's get back to Nationalities Day. How does this system of ethnic federalism play out in the celebration itself?
Nationalities Day is where this system truly comes to life. It's a visual representation of this unique structure. Each region gets to showcase its distinct culture, its traditions, its language. It's a platform for each group to express its identity while simultaneously being part of a larger whole.
It sounds like a celebration designed to reinforce both individual identity and national unity.
It is.
But I'm curious, how do Ethiopians themselves view this holiday? Is it just a symbolic event, or do people genuinely feel a sense of connection and celebration?
Well, from what we've gathered, Ethiopians embrace Nationalities Day with immense enthusiasm. They take pride in their heritage and see the holiday as an opportunity to share it with the rest of the nation.
Yeah.
There's a palpable sense of joy and unity during the celebrations.
So it's not just a government-mandated event.
Right.
It's a celebration that resonates with people on a personal level.
Exactly. And you see this reflected in the festivities themselves. People from all walks of life, dressed in their traditional attire, gather in public squares, parks, and stadiums across the country. It's a sea of colors, music, and dance.
Wow. And what about the food? I've heard Ethiopian cuisine is incredibly diverse and flavorful.
You've heard right. And Nationalities Day is a culinary adventure in itself.
Yeah.
Each region boasts its own unique dishes, from spicy stews to rich coffee ceremonies, all showcasing the diverse culinary tapestry of the nation.
It's amazing how food can be such a powerful symbol of cultural identity.
Mhm.
And on Nationalities Day, it becomes a way to share and connect with others.
Precisely. And that's really what makes this holiday so special. It's about more than just recognizing diversity. It's about celebrating it, experiencing it,
Yeah.
and ultimately finding unity through it.
We've talked about ethnic federalism, the structure of government. We've talked about the cultural expressions, the food, the music, the dance. But there's this other element that keeps popping up. This idea that love is the binding force in Ethiopia. Is this just poetic language, or is there something more to it?
It's definitely more than just a saying. Ethiopians have a profound sense of community, a deep-rooted respect and affection for one another that transcends ethnic boundaries. They call it
Midemer.
which embodies the spirit of coming together, of synergy, of unity.
I like that. It sounds like a concept that goes beyond simple tolerance or acceptance.
It does. It speaks to a genuine love and appreciation for the richness that diversity brings. And it's this spirit of Midemer that truly shines through on Nationalities Day.
So it's not just about showcasing individual cultures, it's about coming together as one big, diverse, and loving family. And that's a powerful image, especially in a world that often seems so divided.
It is.
Yeah.
And it raises the question, what can other nations learn from Ethiopia's experience? Can this model of unity and diversity be applied elsewhere?
That's a question worth exploring. But before we dive into that, let's take a step back and look at the historical context of Nationalities Day. Because a celebration this unique doesn't just appear out of thin air. There's got to be a story behind it.
There is indeed. And it's a story that takes us back to a period of significant political and social transformation in Ethiopia.
All right, now we're getting into the juicy stuff. Let's uncover that story when we return for part 2 of our deep dive. All right, so we've set the stage. We know Ethiopia is incredibly diverse, and they've created this unique system of ethnic federalism to manage that diversity. But where does Nationalities Day fit into all of this? When did this celebration even begin?
Well, you might be surprised to learn that Nationalities Day, as we know it today, is a relatively recent addition to Ethiopia's calendar.
Really? I was under the impression it was an ancient tradition, given how deeply ingrained it seems in their culture.
It's certainly deeply ingrained now, but it was formally established in 1995, following a period of significant political change.
So this is where the history gets interesting. What was happening in Ethiopia during that time?
Prior to 1991, Ethiopia had been under a Marxist regime for nearly 2 decades. This regime often suppressed expressions of ethnic identity and cultural diversity.
So celebrating individual nationalities wouldn't have exactly been encouraged back then.
Not at all. In fact, it would have been seen as a threat to the idea of a unified socialist Ethiopia.
So how did things change? What led to this shift towards embracing ethnic federalism and creating Nationalities Day?
The fall of the Marxist regime in 1991 marked a turning point. The new government, led by the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, EPRDF, recognized the need to address the country's long-standing ethnic tensions.
So they saw embracing diversity as a way to move forward rather than trying to suppress it.
Exactly. They understood that ignoring or suppressing ethnic differences had only led to conflict and instability.
And that's when the concept of ethnic federalism took root.
Precisely. The new constitution adopted in 1995 enshrined the principle of unity and diversity, recognizing the rights of nations and nationalities to self-governance within a federal system.
So Nationalities Day was born out of this new political and social landscape, a way to celebrate the diverse cultures that make up Ethiopia while also reinforcing the importance of national unity.
You got it. It was a way to acknowledge the past, embrace the present, and build a future based on mutual respect and understanding.
It's fascinating how they took a potentially divisive history and turned it into a unifying celebration. It's like they said, let's not pretend our differences don't exist, let's celebrate them.
It's a testament to the resilience and forward-thinking spirit of the Ethiopian people. They recognized the need to heal old wounds, to create a space where all Ethiopians could feel a sense of belonging and pride in their heritage.
And they chose celebration as the vehicle for that healing. Instead of dwelling on past conflicts, they decided to focus on building a shared future. A future where diversity is seen as an asset.
Precisely. And that's the real power of Nationalities Day. It's not just a celebration, it's a statement. A statement that says, we are many, but we are one.
That's a powerful message, and one that seems even more relevant in today's world, where so many societies are grappling with issues of diversity and inclusion.
Absolutely. Ethiopia's experience offers valuable insights into how to navigate those challenges, how to create a society where differences are respected and celebrated, while also fostering a strong sense of national unity.
It's a reminder that unity doesn't have to mean uniformity, that true strength lies in embracing our differences and finding ways to weave them together into a vibrant and harmonious whole.
And that's the essence of Myanmar. The idea that we are all interconnected, that our individual strengths and differences contribute to the collective good.
It's a beautiful concept, and one that seems to be deeply embedded in Ethiopian culture.
It is. You see it reflected in their art, their music, their social interactions, and of course in their celebration of Nationalities Day.
So while Nationalities Day is a relatively new holiday, it's deeply rooted in Ethiopia's history and cultural values.
Exactly. It's a celebration that both honors the past and looks towards the future, a future where diversity is not just tolerated, but truly celebrated.
And that's a future worth striving for, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a future where we can all learn to live together in harmony, recognizing and appreciating the richness that our differences bring to the world.
Well said. So we've talked about the historical context, the political framework, the cultural significance, and the emotional power of Nationalities Day. But I think our listener is probably eager to hear more about the actual celebration. What happens on December 8th? What are the sights, the sounds, the flavors that make this day so special?
Imagine this. Cities and towns across Ethiopia erupt in a symphony of colors, music, and dance. People from all walks of life, dressed in their traditional attire, fill the streets, their laughter and chatter echoing through the air.
It sounds like an explosion of joy and cultural expression.
It is. There are parades with floats representing each of the regions, showcasing their unique heritage. Traditional music and dance performances captivate the crowds, each group bringing its own rhythms and movements to the stage.
So it's not just a visual spectacle, it's a full-on sensory experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, no Ethiopian celebration would be complete without food. There are stalls and vendors offering a tantalizing array of traditional dishes, from spicy stews to aromatic coffees, from injera bread to honey wine, each bite a testament to the country's rich culinary heritage.
It must be a feast for the senses, the sights, the sounds, the aromas, the flavors. It's almost like you can taste the unity in the air.
You really can. There's a palpable sense of togetherness, a shared pride in being Ethiopian that transcends any differences.
And that feeling permeates the entire celebration, from the grand parades to the intimate gatherings.
Exactly. Whether you're watching a traditional dance performance, sharing a meal with friends and family, or simply strolling through the streets, taking in the vibrant atmosphere, you can't escape the feeling that you're part of something special, something bigger than yourself.
It sounds like a truly remarkable event, a celebration of unity that goes beyond mere tolerance and reaches a level of genuine love and appreciation for diversity.
It is. And it's a testament to the human capacity to transcend differences, to build bridges of understanding, and to create a world where we can all live together in harmony.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the key takeaway for our listener? What's the one thing we want them to remember about Ethiopia's Nationalities Day?
I think the most important takeaway is that this celebration is a beacon of hope, a shining example of what's possible when we choose unity over division, when we embrace diversity as a source of strength, and when we cultivate a culture of love and respect for one another.
It's a powerful message, and one that's worth reflecting on no matter where we are in the world.
Absolutely. Because at its core, Nationalities Day reminds us that our shared humanity is far more important than any differences that might divide us.
And on that note, let's shift gears and explore what this celebration can teach us. Can Ethiopia's model of unity and diversity be a blueprint for a more harmonious world? We'll delve into that in the final part of our deep dive. So we've spent this deep dive exploring Ethiopia's Nationalities Day, this vibrant tapestry of culture and unity. But is it just a feel-good celebration, or can other countries actually learn something from this model?
I think there's a lot we can learn from Ethiopia's experience, though of course no single model can be directly transplanted to another context.
Right, every country has its own unique history and challenges, but what are some of the key takeaways that might be applicable elsewhere?
Well, one of the most striking aspects of Ethiopia's approach is their commitment to recognizing and valuing diversity as a strength, not a weakness. They've woven this principle into the very fabric of their political system and their national identity.
That's true. They've gone beyond simply tolerating differences to actually celebrating them. But how do they make that work in practice? Doesn't emphasizing differences sometimes lead to more division?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. But Ethiopia's approach is built on the understanding that ignoring or suppressing differences doesn't make them go away. It often just pushes them underground where they can fester and lead to conflict.
So it's about bringing those differences out into the open, acknowledging them, and finding ways to integrate them into a shared national identity.
Exactly. And that's where the system of ethnic federalism comes in. By granting a degree of autonomy to regions based on ethnicity, they've created a framework where different groups can preserve their cultural heritage while also participating in a shared system of governance.
It's like they've created space for both individual expression and collective unity. But surely there must be challenges in managing such a complex system. How do they deal with potential conflicts or disagreements between different groups?
Well, no system is perfect. There have certainly been instances of tension and conflict in Ethiopia, but the federal structure provides mechanisms for dialogue and negotiation. It allows different groups to voice their concerns and work towards solutions within a shared framework.
So it's not about pretending that differences don't exist or trying to force everyone into a single mold. It's about creating a system that acknowledges and accommodates those differences while also fostering a sense of common purpose. But beyond the political structures, there's also a deeper cultural element at play here, isn't there? This idea of metamer.
Yes, that's a crucial point. Metamer, which translates roughly to synergy or coming together, is more than just a word in Ethiopia. It's a deeply ingrained cultural value that emphasizes the importance of community cooperation and mutual respect.
So it's not just about laws and institutions. It's about fostering a culture where people genuinely care for one another and value each other's contributions regardless of their background. But how do you create that kind of culture? It seems almost utopian.
It's certainly an ambitious goal. But Ethiopia's experience suggests that it's not impossible. They've invested heavily in education and cultural exchange programs that promote understanding and tolerance. They've also made a conscious effort to incorporate Metamer into their national narrative, emphasizing the shared history and destiny of all Ethiopians.
So it's a multifaceted approach that involves political structures, cultural values, and a shared sense of purpose. But I think the key takeaway here is that unity doesn't happen by accident. It requires deliberate effort, a willingness to embrace differences, and a commitment to building bridges of understanding.
I agree. And Ethiopia's Nationalities Day is a powerful symbol of that commitment. It's a reminder that diversity is not a threat to unity, but rather an essential ingredient in a vibrant and resilient society.
It's been truly inspiring to delve into the celebration with you. Ethiopia's journey offers valuable lessons for us all as we strive to build more inclusive and harmonious communities in our own corners of the world. So as we wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. What can each of us do in our own lives and communities to foster a greater sense of unity, respect, and metamer? It's something really worth thinking about. And thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Ethiopia's Nationalities Day.